Here we are. Good morning, my friends. Good morning, and welcome to another day, another week, another day, another session of our small group. PB reads the Bible. Great to be with you this morning, my friends. For today, for me, it is morning. For me, it is Tuesday, December 19th, and it's 9:01. For you, it might be something different, which is awesome because I know so many of you uh, make time other times of the day just because you can't be here now. But we're still together and you're still joining in our small group, and this is wonderful. So, what is it? It's PB Reads the Bible. I'm PB, I'm the pastor, Pastor Brian. And this is the time when we get together. We read from the Bible. I read out loud. You follow along, or just listen as I read. And then I share some comments and commentary on the passage so that we have a better understanding of what it is that's going on. And you ask questions and share your comments. All of that stuff is wonderful. Uh, and I really appreciate the fact that you find time to do this, that you find this valuable, and you send me notes and messages saying how much you enjoy it. So that's thank you for that. And not that you enjoy it, not just that you enjoy it, I should say, but that it's valuable to you. So go ahead and say good morning. Do your romper room roll call. Good morning, Bonnie. Good to see you here with us this morning. You can also send me a text 570-351-1619 if you're unable to leave a comment using Facebook. Keep in mind, I don't always see comments right away. I do my best to keep up on them though, and I do go back in. So if you're not joining us live Tuesday, December 19th at 9 o'clock, still leave your comments, still leave your questions. I go back in and I set times and to make sure to see if I missed anything. So go ahead. And since we're a small group, we share life. So go ahead and let me know what it is that's on your hearts and minds this morning, so that we can keep each other lifted in prayer, surrounded in prayer, lifted in prayer. All right, so we are working our way through the book of Second Kings, and today we'll be looking at chapter 16, which, yes, it's a short chapter, but 17 is a long one. So we might do the beginning piece of 17. I think we will. We're not going to do all of 17. We're going to 16 and again, maybe part of 17. Good morning, John and Cindy. Good to have you joining us this morning as well. Yeah, so let's get to it, right? It's probably going to be a briefer session today since it is a short chapter, a short chapter. In the 17th year of Pekah, son of Remaliah, King Ahaz, son of Jotham of Judah, began to reign. Ahaz was 20 years old when he began to reign. He reigned 16 years in Jerusalem. He did not do what was right in the sight of Yahweh his God, as his ancestor David had done, but he walked in the way of the kings of Israel. He even made his son pass through fire, according to the abominable practices of the nations whom Yahweh drove out before the people of Israel. He sacrificed and made offerings on the high places, on the hills, and under every green tree. Pause. So the narrator goes back to the southern kingdom, back to Judah, and we things have been going good, we thought, right? Several pretty decent kings in a row who had done some things, even though they didn't destroy the high places. They had been reformers and doing a decent job. So we might think or expect, anticipate, and hope that things are going to continue that way, that the fortunes of Judah will be better. Well, not so. Now we have this King Ahaz, and we're told that he did not do what was right in the sight of the Lord. Not only that, we're told that he walked in the ways of the kings of Israel. So he is becoming, he is he is being at least as bad as the kings of Israel have been in what they've done. In fact, he's gone so far as to not only allow worship at the high places to continue, he's participated in it. And above all things, he's even practiced uh, child sacrifice. That's what it means when it says it made his son pass through fire. He sacrificed his son to a god. We could only presume that it's the god Molech, which was one of the Canaanite gods, and that was their practice was uh, child sacrifice. So he's doing all kinds of bad stuff. Picking up from there. Verse 5. Then King Rezin of Aram and King Pekah, son of Remaliah of Israel, came up to wage war on Jerusalem. They besieged Ahaz, but could not conquer him. Pause. I'm going to pause here. Something just occurred to me. I don't know if I ever said this before, but you notice they're coming up to Jerusalem to wage war on Jerusalem. I think I might have said this before, but not in a while. No matter where, you can tell it's a Deuteronomistic editor. No matter where people are coming from, they're always coming up to Jerusalem. Jerusalem is on a slight, on a higher elevation, but it has more to do with the fact that it is the holy city. And so they're always coming up to Jerusalem. Picking up from there, verse 6. At that time, the king of Edom recovered Elath for Edom and drove the Judeans from Elath. And the Edomites came to Elath, where they live to this day. Ahaz sent messengers to King Tiglath-Pileser of Assyria, saying, I am your servant and your son. Come up and rescue me from the hand of the king of Aram and from the hand of the king of Israel, who are attacking me. Ahaz also took the silver and gold found in the house of Yahweh and in the treasures of the king's house, and sent a present to the king of Assyria. The king of Assyria listened to him. The king of Assyria marched up against Damascus and took it, carrying its people captive to Kir. Then he killed Rezin. Pause. Morning, Marilyn. So Ahaz is making a plea to the Assyrian Empire, and he's paying him off. He's giving him a bribe, you might say. Whatever he's buying is his support. Whatever gold or silver or whatever is left in the treasuries of the temple and in the palace, he's giving it over to the Assyrian king to buy his support. And he listens. The king of Assyria, Tiglath-Pileser, comes to the aid of King Ahaz and actually kills Rezin, the king of Aram, and saves Ahaz, at least for now. At least for now. Picking up from there. When King Ahaz went to Damascus to meet King Tiglath-Pileser of Assyria, he saw the altar that was at Damascus. King Ahaz sent to the priest Uriah a model of the altar and its pattern, exact in all its details. The priest Uriah built the altar in accordance with all that King Ahaz had sent from Damascus. Just so did the priest Uriah build it before King Ahaz arrived from Damascus. When the king came from Damascus, the king viewed the altar. Then the king drew near to the altar, went up on it, and offered his burnt offering and his grain offering, poured his drink offering, and dashed the blood of his offerings of well-being against the altar. The bronze altar that was before Yahweh he removed from the front of the house, from the place between his altar and the house of Yahweh, and put it on the north side of the altar. King Ahaz commanded the priest Uriah, saying, Upon the great altar offer the morning burnt offering and the evening grain offering, and the king's burnt offering and his grain offering, with the burnt offering of all the people of the land, their grain offering and their drink offering. Then dash against it all the blood of the burnt offering and all the blood of the sacrifice. But the bronze altar shall be for me to inquire by. The priest Uriah did everything that King Ahaz commanded. Pause. So what's he do here? He found this altar to a foreign god that he liked. And so he sent instructions to build me a replica. And he places that altar in the temple and moves the altar of the Lord, the altar of Yahweh, off to the side and wants this one used for sacrifice instead. But he's going to keep the altar to Yahweh, but the only thing he's going to use it for is to make inquiries. To make inquiries. The Delphi, to use it for oracle purposes. To use it for oracle purposes. And Uriah agrees to it. This priest Uriah agrees to it. Does everything that the king said. Then King Ahaz cut off the frames of the stands and removed the laver from them. He removed the sea from the bronze oxen that were under it and put it on a pediment of stone. The covered portal for use on the Sabbath that had been built inside the palace, and the outer entrance for the king he removed from the house of Yahweh. He did this because of the king of Assyria. Now the rest of the acts of Ahaz that he did, are they not written in the book of the annals of the kings of Judah? Ahaz slept with his ancestors and was buried with his ancestors in the city of David. His son Hezekiah succeeded him. Pause. So it's a pretty brief summation of Ahaz's reign. But the Deuteronomistic editor wants to emphasize the changes he made to the temple practices. And he's bringing in presumably a foreign altar to a foreign god into the temple of the Solomon's temple, the temple of the Lord, we would say, right? Yahweh's temple. And he's moved the temple, the altar that should be there, and now he's taken away some of the other accoutrements, some of the things that were needed for worship, and cut them into pieces, and presumably taken some of that stuff that was still, that was valuable, bronze and stuff like that, perhaps to continue to pay King Tiglath-Pileser. Excuse me. But he's done, and Hezekiah has now come into the scene. So let's read the beginning of chapter 17. Like I said, chapter 16 was a very short one, but 17 is a long chapter. We're not going to have enough time to do the whole thing, but we're going to read the beginning. We're going to read the first 6 verses anyway to find out what's going on. The next section, in particular, the next several chapters, there's not much theology. It's a lot of historical stuff, presumably historical. Well, it is historical. Whether or not it's 100% accurate is a different story. But we're going to read 17 verses 1 through 6. And it's back to Israel. It's back to Israel. In the 12th year of King Ahaz of Judah, Hoshea, son of Elah, began to reign in Samaria over Israel. He reigned 9 years. He did what was evil in the sight of Yahweh, yet not like the kings of Israel who were before him. Pause. This sounds interesting. This is going to pique the ears of the early listeners. We've seen how bad the kings of Israel are, especially with regards to worshiping Yahweh and leading their people astray. And so we see Hoshea, and it says he did what was evil in the sight of the Lord, but not like the kings of Israel who were before him. So it's almost like this is a slightly better king. This is a slightly better king. Oh, well, maybe things are going to turn around. King Shalmaneser of Assyria came up against him. Hoshea became his vassal and paid him tribute. But the king of Assyria found treachery in Hoshea, for he had sent messengers to King So of Egypt and offered no Egypt to the king of Assyria, as he had done year by year. Therefore, the king of Assyria confined him and imprisoned him. Then the king of Assyria invaded all the land and came to Samaria. For 3 years he besieged it. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria captured Samaria. He carried the Israelites away to Assyria. He placed them in Hala, on the Habor, the river of Gozan, and in the cities of the Medes. Pause. Uh, so, so much for thinking that things are going to go a little bit better for Israel because this king isn't as bad as the ones who came before him. But we see that it is under Hoshea that Israel falls, that the northern kingdom of Israel falls to the Assyrians, to the Assyrians. He tried to become a vassal. He became a vassal. He became subservient. So basically, he willingly gave over the kingdom to the king of Assyria, Shalmaneser. But, but the story tells us that he secretly tried to align himself with King So of Egypt. We have no idea who King So was. There's no Egyptian records indicating this name for one of their kings or pharaohs. So we don't know. We don't know. But apparently, King Hoshea tried to align himself with him, presumably use to use him to fight against Shalmaneser and his armies. But it didn't work. It didn't work. So I think not just me, but other scholars would, I believe, would agree. Hoshea looks a little bit better, but I think the point here is it's it's not because of him that Israel falls. It's because of all of the kings of Israel that Israel falls. He's just the one who happens to be in charge when it ultimately happens. When it ultimately happens. Excuse me. And so it was a 3-year siege against Samaria. And history, other documents tell us that Shalmaneser actually died during that 3-year siege. So he did not live to see Samaria fall. Samaria fell actually under his son Sargon. Sargon II was his son, and it was under his reign that Syria actually fell. It was begun under Shalmaneser, but it finished under Sargon. And here's what Sargon did when they captured Samaria, which was the capital of Israel, remember. He carried away the Israelites. Did he carry away everybody? No, didn't carry away everybody, but took away a vast majority of the people. What they would probably do at the time is they take people away and then they bring people in. And they do it for multiple reasons. One, to give land to their citizens, to give them things, especially to people that the ruler might have owed favors to, and uh, also to reduce the possibility of rebellion. If you're taking away the people you've conquered, you're not leaving enough of them behind to try to rebel and take back their land and leave your empire. So he takes them away. He takes them pretty far, actually. The place that he takes them to is it's northeast of Nineveh, and Nineveh is a few hundred miles away. So he takes them pretty far away from Israel in and keeps them there. At least that's one of the areas that it says he takes them. And that's going to be it today, my friends. We're going to end there at 17:6. Tomorrow, not tomorrow, Thursday, we'll start up at 17:7. Okay, so our next session will be Thursday, December 21st. And that'll be it, of course, for this week. We have worship on Sunday. We will not have a session next week, the 26th. Okay. We will have a session on Thursday, the 28th, but we will not have one on Tuesday, the 26th. So we'll be back at this though. We will be back at this though on Thursday, the 21st. So my friends, I pray that thank you for joining with me today. Thank you for being part of this small group. I do pray that this has been beneficial, that you've learned something or relearned something, that God has spoken to you in some way. As you go about your days, not just today, but every day, keep those eyes and ears, both physical and spiritual, open to everything that our living, loving, active God is doing in your life and in the lives of those around you. When you see it, when you hear it, say, thank you, God, and then tell somebody about it. Until we meet again, my friends, be blessed. Be blessed. Bye.